I want to get this quickly because knowing the business, it's very obvious to me, or maybe I've got it wrong. There's the whole presentation with the mic and all that. That has Vince written all over to me. Not that it might not have been your idea, but it was obvious that somebody said, let's cut this segment and make it special in some way. Mm-hmm. What was Vince, how long from Ohio Valley before you started this kind of interactions with Vince?
This was crazy. I was at OVW for about 6 months, just kind of floundering and trying to find my way. Yeah. And Jim Cornette was writing at the time. And Jim had 80 other men and women that he was looking at, right, who were also trying to get to TV. Yeah. And he had 1 hour of TV time every week. And, you have these random names. I always felt like he had these hats, like baby faces and heels. And he would just go like, yeah, here, you guys got 6 minutes, go. And you got to try to get yourself over. And It's really hard to do that. Sure. So I'm like working really hard and training and trying to get myself on TV, but nothing was really happening. Mm-hmm. And Cornette paintbrushed the shit out of Santino Marella backstage. Got fired. I was standing right next to him, like from me to you away. I was standing right there. And then the next day, they said Cornette's fired, and Paul Heyman's coming in. Well, Paul Heyman came in, and I got to the building. TV was on Wednesday. OVW TV was on Wednesday. I got to the building at like noon. And it was just me and Paul in the office, and he was like, come here, I want to talk to you. And he pulled me aside, and he was like, I've been a fan of yours for a really long time, since that first time that I saw you. Right. You remembered pulling me aside. And then also, he would come down and do promo class with us. Like every 2 months, he would come down and sit. Nice. It would just be a tripod and a camcorder, right, Paul and me. Sure. And I'd cut a promo, and then he would go, and he would critique it, and then you were to go home that night, fine-tune it, come back the next day, and then you reshoot it with him. Yeah. And he always had great feedback and criticism for me on day one, and then day two, he would go, okay, good, loved it. Yeah. And then that would be it. And I was like, any feedback or anything? Right. Nope, loved it. And I was like, oh, this guy hates me, fuck. Yeah. And
the one thing about Paul, he has a great eye for talent, right? I mean, and knows what to do with that talent. In my career, I've, again, Dusty and Bill Watson, so many greats, but Paul, different in a lot of ways, but boy, he could figure out how to take you, him, me, and make it something special.
And hide your weaknesses and really, really bring out your positives.
Correct. Yeah.
And so he would never he would never put me over to my face or anything like that.
That's a thing for him, by the way.
Very, he was very professional and just, but there wasn't a whole lot. And he's like, I just want you to know I've been a fan of yours. I've been watching your promos. I've been paying attention to what you're doing down here. And I'm going to do so much stuff with you over the course of the next couple of weeks that you're going to be the next guy out of here. And that night, true to his word, OVW show was a 1 hour show, probably 53 minutes with commercials and all that stuff, right? 52. Yep. I had like 35 minutes of that show that night. Yeah. Between matches, backstage promos, segments, and things like that.
And no real push other than previous.
Up until that point. Yeah. This was like brand new.
And he would have done that if he didn't see something special.
Right.
If he was giving you lip service, he'd say, hey, you're great, big star. You got 3 minutes, go.
Yep.
Right? Instead, wow. It's such an unorthodox approach. And step into the business.
Yep. And 5 weeks later, and then so 2 weeks after that, he said, tonight on your way to the ring, I want you to cut the ring announcer off. His name was Dean Hill. I want you to cut him off, cuss him out, dress him down. Then you do your own introduction and you make it big. And, and he sort of like did a version of what I do today. Yeah. And so I went out and I did it. And I flashback, I had, in high school, I announced basketball games. And somewhere along the way, I started doing the last name twice. Yeah. And people would love it. It worked, you know, and people would love it. And so when I was in the ring, I hit my name, and then I was like, I hit my last name twice. Yeah. And I came back through the curtain, and everybody was like, keep doing that. That was awesome.
All right. When I was a kid in the business, the old timers would always say, got to find a way to be different, kid. Find a way. So you just sort of stumbled into it and had it.
It was just like an accident, you know.
Wow.
And then 5 weeks later, I get a phone call. Ken, this is Tommy. they want to see you at Raw or at SmackDown this week.
Dude, like this is like the quickest shot I've ever heard of.
And then they wanted to see me, and they want to see your gimmick too. They want you to do the thing. And so I went there, and that day I was wrestling. It was supposed to be Funaki.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be just a dark match. And Funaki was going to super kick me at the end, 1, 2, 3. That was going to be the end of it. And I remember earlier in the day, Brooklyn Brawler was also in charge of doing all the behind the scenes pre-tapes and stuff like that. Right. He pulled me aside and said, they want to hear a promo out of you. So I cut a promo. And I remember standing there and I was thinking about what I was going to say. And then Brawler would be like, maybe this. And he would give me a couple pointers or whatever. And I would go, okay, all right. And then I would start working whatever he said into my, and then he'd go, or this. And then and I would be like, yeah, I can do that. And then I would start reworking it. And finally I was like, you know what? I got it.
Yeah.
And so I just I cut my promo. And I remember he said, that was really good. Yeah. He goes, I'm going to tell Vince. I'm going to tell Vince that was a great promo. And then...
Why? Go ahead. I mean, because I'm just floored.
So then later on that day, this is like a crazy, crazy turn of events and like a culmination of, it'd been 6 years of working independence and beating down the door, trying to beat down the door. Yeah. And so I'm standing in gorilla position or just outside of gorilla, and I'm doing push-ups, and I'm kind of going through what we're going to do. And Dave Lagana, who's the head writer of SmackDown at the time, walks around the corner, and he goes, there's been a change. And I went, in my head, I'm going, fuck, they cut it. I got cut. Whatever, that's fine. Yeah. I'll live to see another day. But he goes, actually, this is now going to be a televised match. It's going to be on Velocity. He goes, we need to come up with a finisher for you because you're going over, and welcome aboard.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And Fit Finley was my producer, and he was like, what do you do for a finish? And I was like, what's something you can... I did a swanton at the time, but Jeff Hardy was... Right. Obviously there, I can't do that.
Sure.
So I was like, I had done a Finley roll, but I had tried it off the second rope. And I knew that if the guy hugs really tight and I pull him into me, I know that I can take care of him and not hurt him, but it looked crazy. Yeah. It looks devastating. So I said, I do that. And Funaki's eyes went. And I was like, I promise you, if you hold on to me, hold really tight, I'll take care of you. You won't feel it. Okay, I'll do it. And then, so I went out, and I remember, before I went out there, Arn came up and he was like, get your shit in. This is your night, you know?
Your chance, right?
And so I went out, and I remember it was almost like I wasn't nervous. It was the first, I was nervous, but it was like, I just
exhilarating. I
felt like I belong here now. And this right. This feels right. And I really took my time with everything and I came back through the curtain, and Vince went.
Nice.
And then I came out, and Arn, Johnny Ace, and Fit were all standing there, and they said, you just got yourself a job, kid. And that was it. And from that moment on, Vince was like, a couple of weeks later, I was in his office, and he was like, I want you to be in my office every day. I want to see more of you.
Wow.
It's not ass kissing. It's not ass kissing. It's just I want to get to know you a little bit.
Ass pecking.
Yeah. That's right. We're little smooch.
Yeah. This is a great cliffhanger. I want to ask one real quick question. We're getting the time cues here. Were you aware at that time how truncated that was? That was not the norm to get into WWE or F then. Were you aware of that, or is it just along for the ride?
That wasn't normal?
Yeah, that was not normal.
At that point, I knew that nothing was normal. Nothing about this business is normal.
Right.
And everybody's story is so different.
Yeah.
It's just this is...
It's to me, the all those little things that, again, for you kids out there that are thinking this ain't going to make a difference, I think it's the sum is greater than the parts, right? Where he's sending these tapes in, he's calling Tommy, he's doing all these things. And I'm sure at some point, this guy's a pain in my ass. Somebody take a look at it, right? But it just boom, boom, because it's such, I've never heard of any other shot into the WWE that quickly, that directly, but it makes perfect sense, right? With where they were going with the company at that time. Mm-hmm. And for the kids out there that said, Tommy won't take my call, so-and-so won't hear me, if he won't read my letter, you tried all those things, and somebody obviously did.
Yep.
So.
And no today just means no today.
Yeah.
Or the worst part about the wrestling business is you don't get a no. You don't get a yes. You get nothing. You get radio silence, right?
Yes.
Like, that's just.
Yeah.
But just because it doesn't work out today doesn't mean that that's forever. It's just right now, no.